You know, in a country where so many celebrities shy away from controversy, there was one artist who just ran straight towards it. Today we're going to talk about the life of Zubeen Garg, a man who is so much more than a musician. He was a cultural icon, and his death, well, it literally brought an entire state to a complete standstill.
So, picture this. It's September 19th, 2025. News starts to spread that Zubeen Garg has died in Singapore, and the shockwave that hit his home state of Assam, it was just immediate. We're talking about a kind of collective grief that just wiped away all the usual social and political lines. Everyone felt it. So, it really makes you wonder, right? Who was this man? What was it about him that made him so beloved, so essential, that his death felt like a personal loss to millions of people, most of whom had never even met him?
I mean, to even begin to understand his impact, you just have to look at the sheer scale of the response to his death. But to truly get it, we've got to go back. We need to follow the journey of the man that everyone, and I mean everyone, affectionately called Zubeen Da.
All right, so let's dive in right at the beginning. Let's talk about his music and how he built this absolutely incredible bond with the people of Assam.
So, Zubeen just explodes onto the music scene back in 1992. His first album, Anamika, was an instant massive hit. And look, he wasn't just a singer. This guy was a total musician, a multi-instrumentalist who could just effortlessly switch between languages. And for 3 whole decades, his Bihu albums, they weren't just popular songs. They were the sound of springtime in Assam, literally.
And then came 2006. His song Ya Ali from the movie Gangster just blows up and becomes this huge national sensation. We're talking about a chart topper that launched him into a level of fame that very, very few regional artists ever see. And that put him at a major crossroads.
Okay, so he had a choice to make. You can see the 2 paths he could have taken, right? The typical route? Move to Mumbai, chase that big Bollywood dream. But Zubeen, he did something different. He chose to stay rooted in Assam. He made regional art and film his priority, and in doing so, he wasn't just a celebrity anymore. He became the voice of his people.
But here's the thing about Zubeen. His identity was forged in so much more than just music. He was also a totally fearless activist, an artist of defiance who, you'll see, never ever hesitated to challenge authority. He pretty much said it himself. He saw himself as a rebel, a fighter. For him, art wasn't just about entertainment. No way. It was a tool for change, a weapon he could use to stand up for his community and its values. And believe me, this was not just talk. Think back to the 90s, a really turbulent time. A militant group, Ulfa, actually banned Hindi songs at Bihu festivals. What did Zubeen do? He got on stage and openly defied them. He did this even after getting death threats. Then, when the government offered him security, he refused it, famously saying he felt safer with his people. I mean, that is just an incredible act of courage. And that fearlessness, it wasn't just aimed at militants. Oh no, it extended right up to the government. He really believed that people in power were afraid of him, and he leaned into that, especially during one of the most heated political moments in recent memory.
So when the Citizenship Amendment Act, the CAA, sparked these huge protests all across Assam, guess who was right there at the forefront? Zubeen. He wasn't a politician, not at all, but he became one of the most powerful and visible faces of that whole movement. His song, Politics Nokoriba Bandhu, became the anthem, the rallying cry for everyone who felt their very identity was on the line.
And you have to understand his activism wasn't about party politics. It came from something much deeper. He said it himself, "I am just a human." It was all rooted in this powerful humanism that was always trying to get above all the divisions, caste, religion, you name it, that so often cause conflict in the region.
And this connection he had with people, it wasn't just political. It was deeply, deeply personal. That's why people didn't just call him Zubeen. They called him Zubeen Da, their brother. Look at that number, 15. That's how many children he adopted. He and his wife didn't have any biological kids, so he became a father to 15 others. There's even a famous story of him rescuing a young girl from an abusive home and adopting her himself.
Honestly, his generosity was legendary. Through his foundation, he was constantly raising money for flood victims. He even used his films, like Kanchenjunga, to call out corruption in government jobs. And what really set him apart from so many other celebrities is that he was just accessible. He would just mingle with people, connect with them on a human level. He really became their guardian in a very, very real sense.
Which brings us back to where we started. the tragic events of September 2025. And now you can probably see why the deep love people had for him meant their grief didn't just stay as grief. It quickly morphed into suspicion and a massive demand for answers.
Okay, so here's how it all went down. Initially, the police in Singapore said there was no foul play, but the public back in Assam, they weren't buying it, not for a second. The pressure was immense. We're talking over 60 police complaints filed. This forced the Assam government to create a special investigation team. Soon after, his manager and event organizers were arrested. And by early October, things escalated fast. The charges were upgraded to murder, and a full judicial inquiry was officially announced. So what was fueling all this public suspicion? Well, absolutely shocking allegations started coming out from inside Zubeen's own circle. His own bandmates came forward with these incredible claims that he might have been poisoned, or that his manager literally wouldn't let him sleep in the hours before his death. As you can imagine, these claims just created a total firestorm of controversy and conspiracy theories that are still swirling around.
So, with that investigation still playing out, what do we make of the legacy Zubeen Garg leaves behind?
It's really two things, isn't it? A twin legacy. On one hand, he was an absolute musical genius. His songs were the soundtrack for an entire generation. But on the other hand, he was a social revolutionary. He proved that an artist could be a huge, mainstream entertainer and, at the exact same time, be a fierce, unapologetic guardian of their community's identity and soul.
And make no mistake, his impact was felt far beyond Assam. Tributes poured in from all across the Indian film industry. Take this one from Amir Khan, for example. Everyone recognized just how unique and powerful his place was in the country's cultural fabric.
And that really leaves us with one final powerful question to think about. In an age where so many public figures choose silence, where they'd rather not get involved in difficult issues, Zubeen Garg's life of absolute fearlessness, it forces us to ask, what is the true role, the real responsibility of an artist in our world today?